It's all about balance, right?
Yep.
You can't just be a fucking nerd. Like you have to have something that draws your attention away from, your primary. I'm gonna stay in the basement for 2 days straight. You got to get some sun on that skin.
Yeah, occasionally.
I can't really speak because I'm just pale, but like my default is pale. Like I think it's not in my genetics to tan.
You ever been tan?
Oh yeah. Well, no. I've
Never.
tried to tan.
You've never been tan.
I've never been tan. I actually have a very funny story about tanning.
Did you go to tanning bed?
Well, in high school, I
Put a little bunny on your hip.
Yeah, the Playboy bunny. That's pretty funny. We actually, just a little aside before we get into the story, we had to take an alternate route home today from my girlfriend's parents' house. And they live in Ogden, which is about 45 minutes away from where we live. And we had to take an alternate route through like her old stomping ground. So it was a lot of like, oh yeah, remember this when I was in high school.
This is Barbados. This is
yeah, exactly, shit like that.
This is Javier's.
This is not going to land for anybody that doesn't live in Utah. The Beto's reference, but that's a big thing here in Utah. Shitty breakfast burritos will fix you up if you're real drunk. But there was this tanning salon that we drove by, and it was like in the most like disrepair, dilapidated state. Like most of the time you see tanning salons and they're like pretty nice looking, and this one was just like shitty. There was like a sub shop connected to it. There really wasn't, but like it was just really shitty. And she was like, I used to go here and tan when I was in high school. And I was like, if I had a daughter, I would never allow my daughter to go to this tanning salon. I was like, it looks like a front for like a heroin dealer. Like they're not just doing tans in there, but they're selling Fenty out of the back of this bitch.
You will leave tan and with an 8-ball.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, well, it was nice when I was, 25 years ago when I was ago. Yeah. So that anyways, that was very funny. But this is the story. I used to go I had a group of friends and they were all much better looking than I am, and athletes. They were fucking athletes. And I was just like the nerdy, like token nerd in the group that wasn't fully embracing my nerddom and was just kind of like on the periphery. So I would go with them, and they were both like they were Caucasian, but one of them was super fucking Italian. And the other one was just like handsome dude that, had nice skin. And they were like, we're going to go tanning and you should come with us. And I was like, all right. So I started going tanning with them. Right. So we go to a tanning salon, and they'd come out fucking bronze, looking like Adonis, and I'm over here fucking sunburnt, looking like a goddamn lobster.
Just red.
Yeah, just red, because like I don't tan at all. I burn, and that's it. Like there's no tan. Like my
what if it was slow? What if it was like 1 minute in the tanning booth every day? Like there's got to be a way, right? Like you slow cook it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, golf season, my arms and my legs will get a little bit more tan, but still, if you looked at me like end of the season and looked at my arms, you're not going to be like, damn, Jared, you're looking tan. You're just going to be like, you're just a little less white. But we went for a long period. Well, not a long period of time, but like maybe a month, right? And I was just to the point where I was just like, I just really don't. I don't enjoy this, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get cancer from this. And like, you guys look great, but I think
definitely getting
I might sit this out, and you guys just go. And one of the last times I went, this particular tanning salon had like rooms that you'd go in, and there was a tanning bed. Obviously, it was very nice, but for whatever reason, the tops of the rooms had like a gap, so they didn't have like a proper wall all the way up to the ceiling, but it was a very high wall. We're probably talking about like, I don't know, 10, 12 feet high, up to the ceiling. So there was like zero chance that, well, at least in my mind, that anybody could see you ever if you're like in there getting your tan on, right? And most people tan naked. I don't know how many people don't tan naked. It seems like counterproductive, unless you want like some ridiculous tan lines and dumb places.
You want to be tan, but there's no chance you're going to get laid. You're not going to tan naked.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of my friends, he decided it was going to be a good idea because they would always put like a little mint on your pillow or whatever. Like, enjoy your tan. Here's a mint. And he decided that he was going to scale this wall and throw a piece of candy down at me from this wall, right? Because there's like that opening at the top, right? And this motherfucker was an athlete, and he scaled this wall. And, like we went in at different times. So like, it wasn't like, I didn't know where he was at, but like we were in quick enough where he thought that I was right next to him. And so he scaled this wall with this piece of candy, got all the way to the top and said, "Hey, mother." Oh no, it's much worse than that, Nick. He said, "Hey, motherfucker," and threw the piece of candy. And what he drilled was a naked middle-aged woman with the piece of candy. And here's the kicker. This is the best part of this story, Nick. This was our English teacher from junior high, who was bare ass naked, getting ready to tan, and he just said, "Hey, motherfucker!"
So not in the booth, just
she was like getting ready to get in the booth and had like taken all of her clothes off, and he said, "Hey, motherfucker," and then drilled her with this mint. And it was a bad situation, dude. Like I remember I came out lobster red. And I just like remember going to the front door and I was like, "Oh, he's not done yet." And also being like, "Why are there so many police cars here?" And I was like, "What's going on? Like, what the fuck happened while I was getting my tan on?" And I'm just waiting for this dude and he's not showing up. And I'm like, he didn't do like the extended like deep fry.
They've taken him away.
And so like I like noticed like police mulling about. And I see my friend in handcuffs and I'm like, "Oh my God, dude, like what the fuck did he do?" And they put him in a car. And I remember going outside and I was like, "Excuse me, sir," like to one of the police officers. And I was like, "We
do you have any aloe vera?"
Yeah, which like that's the perfect way to look at this because I'm fucking like lobster red and I'm like hot. My body is hot from all the UV rays. And I'm like, "That's my friend." And we drove together and he was like, "Well, he's not coming with you, son." And I was like, "Okay, like what happened?" And he was like, "Well, I'm not going to talk to you about this. Like, he's a minor. He's going with us." And then he's all just
sick fuck.
Yeah. And they all just fucking took off. Right. And then I remember seeing I had her for English too. I remember seeing her and she was like, "Hey, Jared." Not that excited, but I was like, "Hey."
Yeah, I thought the tone was a little weird.
Yeah, no, she wasn't that excited about it. And I was like, "Is everything okay?" And she's like, "I can't really talk about it." And so, so I'm just like, "Well, I'm driving home by myself. My friend got arrested at the tanning salon, had no point of reference of what happened." To add insult to injury, and I really feel terrible about this, but this teacher had a student. She was a year older than us, but she had a daughter that went to school with us, right? And so I had no idea like what happened. He gets out of the clink and we, talk to one another. And I was like, "What happened?" And he like explains it. He was like, "I thought it was you." And they didn't believe me. And like, I told them the whole fucking story, but I saw, and like, he was like, "I saw her completely like naked and I drilled her with a mint and I went to jail for it." Or juvie or whatever it was. And he's like, "My parents had to bail me out of juvie because I fucking like drilled her." And I was just like, "Oh my God, dude, that's horrible." And then, how kids are and like,
You dated her daughter.
No, like just like gossip and like the way that things kind of like proliferate when you're in like high school or junior high. We were in junior high at this point in time. And she straight up like was bullied about this girl because
the daughter?
Yeah, because it turned into like they had like a relationship and like it morphed into this thing that it wasn't, right? And I always really felt bad about that, but like, and it's a bad situation anyway you cut it. Like you shouldn't scale a wall and throw candy at naked people,
middle-aged women.
But it just like it made it even worse that it was our English teacher. And then like it was this whole fucking thing. Like we were freshmen, so ninth grade.
Yeah.
Which you like in Utah or where I went to school, ninth grade you were still in junior high, and then you started high school in 10th grade. But yeah, it was just a really bad deal, dude.
It's real funny,
but it was fucking hilarious. Now thinking back at it, now I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
It's funny from all parts at this point. Like even the lady should be able to be like, remember that time someone threw a fucking Thin Mint at me? Fucking tanning salon.
I don't think she was stoked about it, and it was just a really bad. It was and just like all.
You don't think so? She called the cops on him.
Yeah.
So,
and then it was like awkward because like I don't think that I was still in her class too. And I don't think that she could like at the time connected the dots that I was like there with him. But later down the line, it definitely like I still had a whole like this happened like mid-year, my freshman year. And like I still had to like do work and stuff like that, you know, in her class, homework and whatnot. And like 100% she knew that I was like involved. And she never, to her credit, she never like treated me negatively because of it. But like my friend knew what she looked like naked. And for a adolescent male, that is also you know, part of the calculus where you're like, oh boy, like this is all it was a bad situation.
The thing about this is good, and I just wanted to be sexy tan.
Yeah, I just tried to get my tan on. I didn't know what happened. So yeah, that's my tan story, man. And then like after that, I never did it again. Like I think that was like the nail in the coffin. I was like, I just don't think that this is for me.
I don't think it's for any. I don't think it should be for anybody.
No, I agree 100%.
Long term, I think it's a bad policy.
Yep, absolutely. If you're gonna do it, like do the spray on. Like just get sprayed. You know what I mean?
Get painted for a little bit.
Yeah, that in itself is like off-putting to me as well. Like I don't know if you've ever like had to share a bed with someone that just got a tan, one of those spray on tans, and like if you have white sheets, it's a mistake. It just looks like they have like decayed in the bed and like are in some process of decaying, and there's just like this brown like body stain on the sheets. It's not it, dude.
I don't think you were there. This was probably 10 years ago for Halloween when I dressed up as the Dos Equis guy. Have you seen any of the pictures?
I don't think so.
They're fantastic. So
like the most interesting man in the world, that guy?
Yeah. Okay. So I dressed up as him, and I like pulled it off pretty well, put some gray into my hair, and then used an enormous amount of self tanner.
Yeah.
And that stuff, turns out that's like a slow release type deal. So what happened was before we went to the party, we just caked it on my face, right?
Yeah.
And then I just got darker and darker as the night went on. And people were like, well, this is getting to be a problem.
Yeah, you're getting drunker and drunker and darker and darker. Yeah, that's very funny. Speaking of Halloween, the first time I ever met you, I was in a dress with a bunch of dudes that were mutual friends.
It wasn't Halloween.
It was not Halloween, no. That's another funny story. One day we were at this place, our friends, mutual friends' house. And they used to, I think we've talked about green car before on the podcast, where you would just get drunk on a porch, and every time a green car drove by, there was like all these rules and things like that. You get very drunk, surprisingly, doing this. And a number of us had this bright idea. Let's go to the DI. One person in particular really, really wanted to do this. And so they decided, let's all go to the DI and let's all buy dresses and let's wear dresses to bars. And so we did it once, and it was actually like hilarious. And you did more successfully with like the opposite sex than you would think, because it was just like a
had any right to. Like it just shouldn't have been. Yeah. You had things in common.
Yeah.
You'd be like, these dresses wild, huh?
Well, what happened was the first time that we did this, we all dressed up in dresses and we went to a bar, and there ironically was a group of people that were also dressed up in golf attire. So like old timey golf attire. And we like kind of commingled because we were like, hey, we all look ridiculous. And then one of my friends ended up hooking up with one of the golfing girls. And I think that started this kind of trend. We didn't do it all the time, but we did it like once or twice where it was like, you know what, let's wear dresses and go out and be dummies. And I don't know why this happened, but dress night was a night that we were going to go to your house, and you lived in this terrible area in the middle
suburbs of
the middle of fucking nowhere.
It's half hour away. It's way west, getting pretty close to the copper mine.
Yes.
And yeah, that was our first townhouse that we got when we got married, and then quickly moved out of there. But yeah, we would every few months we would have people out, and which just like took the neighborhood by storm, because we would just like meals, we just partied pretty hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And we showed up to your place, car full of dudes in dresses. And I think everyone knew us. Well, you guys didn't know me, but like a lot of people knew the people I was with. Sure. And I was just dragged along. And that's the first time that we met each other. And it was very weird because I was in a dress and didn't know all these people. And I don't think that most people understood what was happening. I think that's fair. But also a lot of people that knew the people I was with was like, yeah, this tracks for these fucking weirdos.
Yeah, I didn't blink an eye. It was just like, well, obviously it's dress day, and they look nice. They're dressed nicer than me, so I don't know. I mean, what are we trying to do?
The best part was that we all chose each other's dresses. So like, I picked a dress for one guy. They picked a dress for me, like all the way to the end where everybody was wearing dresses, except for the guy that owned the house, who somehow got away with wearing like a James Bond-esque suit. And there are pictures that are fantastic with all like 5 or 6 dudes in dresses surrounding the owner of the house where we bought these dresses at, dressed, drinking a fucking martini. And they are pure gold. I think I might have them, so I might post one of them on the Discord.
I want to see.
But the best part of this whole situation, and like it without incident for the most part, we just got shit faced at your house in daybreak, and it was a good time. But like you highlighted, it seemed like there was a lot of protests to, you share a wall with people in a townhouse, and a number of us were outside in dresses, and the cops showed up. And I should say, a singular cop showed up. And
I don't like this.
This is the best. He pulled up, and like we were all of age, so we were like worried. So I think one of us like went up to the cop car, and he stopped, and he was like, "What's up, guys?" And then all like you could see in his eyes registered that we were all wearing dresses. And he was like, "You guys having a good night?" And we were like, "Yeah, we're having a good night." And he was like thinking, you could see the gears turning, and he was like, "Well, see you later." And then he was like, clearly he was like, "I am not going to get involved with these fucking weirdos. We are leaving. I'm leaving."
Not interested in seeing.
And I think the joke was at the time, like one of the dudes was like, "Don't worry, we're all in dresses, but we just like completely got this cop to leave us alone so we can continue to party hardy here."
The living in a townhouse, had some pretty funny things that happened. In that we did the chili cook-off, and our friend showed up with us a bunch of beer and knocked on the wrong door, and it's a conservative area. It's a very Mormon area. And this poor lady opens the door, and he's like, "I'm here for the chili cook-off." And she's like, "There's no cooking off going here."
There's no cooking off.
Get the fuck off my porch.
Yeah.
You're rolling rock. Get out of here.
Yeah, I think I told the story on the podcast, but I went into same thing where I was dating a girl, walked her out to her car, and then was in a townhouse situation, and I walked into the wrong house. And I was like, "Who's ready to play beer pong?" And I opened the door, and it was just a man and his wife on the couch, and the guy wanted to kill me and was like, "Get the fuck out." And I was just like, "I'm so sorry." Thankfully, I wasn't wearing a dress at this point in time. I was appropriately dressed. But that is something you got to be careful with. They all look the same. That's the difficult part.
It's an honest mistake.
You know,
it can
like
happen to the best of us.
Drunk dude committing like an address to memory is a difficult thing to do. You know, so
it's pretty much impossible.
Those are some fun stories, guys.